What's up, everybody? Welcome to Top 10 Character Moments. Today we're breaking down my list for the top 10 best moments of the Night Sister / bounty hunter / Quinlan Vos lover, Asajj Ventress. Be warned, as I'm not just going to spoil stuff from the Clone Wars, but from the novel Dark Disciple as well. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you already have, tell your friends, family, neighbors, let them know that this channel is the place to be. And then tell them to go over to my other YouTube channel called Sector for Nerds, link in the description below, and subscribe there as well. Alright you guys, let's get into a few honorable mentions before cracking the top 10, shall we? First up, killing a bounty hunter at a bar. This moment just goes to show what happens when you mess with the wrong lady. Next up, killing a clone trooper and kissing him. I'm pretty sure this moment didn't actually air on Cartoon Network when the episode was originally released, but fast forward to the Clone Wars Season 3 DVD, voila. Next up, dueling Obi-Wan and Anakin. Happens several times throughout the Clone Wars, but the one that stands out to me is when they're battling on a Separatist command ship, and she just force chokes both of them like it's nothing. And the only reason she was forced to let go of it is because the ship was being bombarded with laser fire from another Separatist ship, ordered by Count Dooku. And finally, for our other honorable mention, dueling Count Dooku. Happened once in the micro series and twice in the animated series. She can definitely hang with him, but ultimately he is more powerful than her. Alright you guys, let's get into the top 10 list itself. You guys ready? Here we go. At number 10, dueling Luminara Unduli and Ahsoka Tano. After Newt Gunray is captured by the Republic, Dooku sends Ventress to either rescue Gunray or silence him. Ventress had to prove herself worthy to Dooku in this episode of the Clone Wars, and she did just that. She bested Luminara in combat, and it took both her and Ahsoka to take on the apprentice. Even then, they still didn't beat her. Well done, Asajj. At number 9, her backstory. After being betrayed by her master, Ventress travels to her homeworld of Dathomir. She reunites with Mother Talzin, leader of the Night Sisters. As they begin to heal Ventress of her wounds, they reveal her life story. Everything from her being taken from the clan, to becoming a Jedi, to losing her master, and then joining the dark side. It was such a crazy scene and I loved it. At number 8, defending Dathomir. After her attempts to assassinate Dooku don't go as planned, Dooku sends his top general with an army to wipe out the Night Sisters of Dathomir. And while unfortunately they do succeed, the Night Sisters don't go down without a fight. Since Ventress knows the droids well, she knows how to launch a good counterattack. Getting to see Ventress take on battle droids of all kinds was sick. She even takes on Grievous, and had it not been for him cheating, she would have beaten him. At number 7, helping Ahsoka Tano. Never did I ever think this was gonna happen. Luckily, I was wrong. At first she was gonna turn the Torgrutin in, and then she's like, you know what? She's offering to get me a pardon for my crimes, and we actually got a lot in common, so you know what? I'm gonna help her out.
And just for that, I'm gonna help you out here.
These two as a tag team are incredible to watch. Like the moment when Ventress puts up the ray shield to stop Anakin from following them, and then she puts her hand on Ahsoka's shoulder, it's like, oh boy, these girls are about to run roughshod on these guys. And speaking of which, I love the moment when the clones confront them and Ahsoka's like, I don't want to fight, and Ventress is like, I do.
I don't want to fight.
I do.
And then to Ventress's credit, when they do fight, she doesn't kill a single clone. Also, random side note, but this is kinda related, when Ahsoka tells her that they need to find an abandoned munitions warehouse on Coruscant level 1315, Ventress had this look on her face that not only does she know about this place, but has some kind of history there. Very curious to see what that could be about.
You know the place I'm talking about, don't you?
At number 6, helping Anakin discover the truth. Anakin was not in a playing mood when he confronted her this time. Ventress explains everything that happened when she and Ahsoka worked together, making Anakin believe he's reached a dead end, given Ventress was the only one Ahsoka talked to. Or was she? I remember watching this episode for the first time thinking, as Ventress said it, that's not true. She was in contact with someone else. She spoke to her friend Barriss, and that's the reason they had to go to the warehouse on 1315 in the first place. Thanks to Ventress, Anakin confronted Barriss and discovered she was the true mastermind behind the attack on the Jedi Temple. Well done, Ventress, well done. At number 5, defending the train / finding her future. This was a really great episode of the Clone Wars, and one that really made me invested in Ventress's character. Ventress teams up with a bunch of bounty hunters, and she's got to defend a train and its cargo. While all the other bounty hunters fail, she succeeds. Not only collecting the bounty, but also receiving additional credits from Crismo for returning his sister to him. Say what you will about Ventress, she's a smart bounty hunter. She's making as much money for herself as she can. And in this episode, she realizes that she has a future, one that's away from the Sith, from her sisters, and away from her home. If only it was able to stay that way. At number 4, falling in love with Quinlan Vos. I enjoy romance stories in Star Wars when done right, and this one certainly did just that. I enjoyed the Dark Disciple novel so much, and I still hope to this day that Dave decides to tell that story in animation. Would have happened sooner if Disney hadn't canceled Clone Wars, so thanks Disney. I enjoyed this because we get to see a side to Asajj Ventress that we've never seen before. A much softer side to her. What went from being 2 hunters led them to becoming lovers, and Ventress teaching Vos the ways of the dark side in order to try and assassinate Count Dooku. Doesn't work out well for them, but sometimes it's about the journey more than the destination. At number 3, teaming up with Obi-Wan Kenobi to take on Darth Maul and Savage Opress. This was a fun/intense lightsaber battle in the middle of the Clone Wars animated series. Never did I think when Clone Wars first started that we'd see Ventress and Obi-Wan team up, against a returning Maul no less. Ventress had to loan Kenobi a lightsaber since Maul had possession of his. The two hold their own against the Zabraks, but ultimately decide to run and live to fight another day. At number 2, her duel with Anakin in the Clone Wars micro-series. It was impossible to not have this as one of my favorite Ventress moments. This is one of the greatest lightsaber battles I've ever seen. I fell in love with this as a kid. I watched it over and over and over again. This is like peak Ventress right here. I know there are people out there that love this version of Ventress more than the Clone Wars animated series Ventress. And while I agree that Ventress is a freaking badass in the micro series, what the animated series did was give her a character arc more than just being a good fighter. I'm not trying to downplay Ventress in the micro series, I'm just saying I like both sides of the character. I grew up a micro series fan even before the animated series was a thing. And finally, at number 1 for my favorite Asajj Ventress moment, sacrificing herself for Quinlan Vos. This would have been one of the craziest moments in the Clone Wars show had this been on screen. This moment. Like, I remember reading Dark Disciple, and as I was reading it, I just couldn't believe it. If you guys can't tell by this video, I really enjoyed that book. Honestly, it's the best Star Wars novel I've ever read, and I think my love for Clone Wars has a lot to do with it. There are so many moments in the novel where you question, did Quinlan actually turn to the dark side, or is he just playing around? You know what wasn't in question? His love for Asajj. And in a moment where it looks like Quinlan was about to take the brunt of some brutal Force lightning, Ventress steps in and takes the bullet for him. The Force lightning was so powerful she starts bleeding from her eyes, ears, and nose. It's like the most gruesome death scene in Star Wars. A line that stands out in the scene right before Ventress dies is when she tells Quinlan, remember, you always have a choice to be better. You always have a choice to pick the right path, even if that choice comes a little late. Which is so brilliant in the sense that it foreshadows exactly what happens to Anakin. Just because you fall down the dark path doesn't mean you can't come back to the light. Anakin is proof of it. Quinlan is proof of it. And Ventress is proof of it. It's funny because in a way, while Ventress taught Quinlan the dark side, I think Quinlan taught her the light. This is definitely the best Asajj Ventress moment, and it makes me so angry that we didn't get to see this in Clone Wars, a proper finish to Ventress's story. So there you have it, you guys. That's my list for the 10 best Asajj Ventress moments. If you like this video, then you'll probably like the rest of my Star Wars Top 10 videos, so make sure you check out my playlist for more. Also, be sure to stay tuned every Friday for my latest Top 10 video. Next week, I'll be breaking down my picks for the top 10 best moments of Nick Fury. Thank you all for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.